Sis, welcome back to the show.
Hey, how you doing, Adam? It's good to see you again.
Good to see you. You're actually the first guest I've had on since the relaunch, and I had to holler at you because,
No way.
yeah,
Wow,
definitely.
thanks.
And I hate to call it a relaunch, but since I started doing the show, back in let's call it
Yeah.
season three. You're the first guest in season three, and I'm so happy to have you on because last time we spoke, we were in the heart of the pandemic. We were right in the middle of it.
Hmm.
People were pretty much still quarantined. I think people were kind of starting to do their own thing, but there was no vaccine, right? There was no reopening really happening
Right.
and not a smart reopening happening, right? So here we are. There is a vaccine. We've been months and months into, it's been about 6 months since we really had this vaccine. People are starting to get used to life.
Yeah.
People are starting to get back out there, right? What I wanted to talk to you about is just that kind of post COVID. And I feel like it's irresponsible to even call it post COVID, but let's call it reopening uh anxiety.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Do you first off, does that even make sense? Do you think that there is an anxiety about like, with people getting back outside, traveling again? Do you think that can cause a bit of anxiety?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, consider when COVID started, at least in my lifetime, and I believe in my parents' lifetime, maybe even my
Hmm.
grandparents' lifetime, we had never experienced anything like this before. Maybe grandparents at the tail end or when they were really young, but this generation, we've never experienced anything like this before.
Right.
So our daily routines, our lives were interrupted, period.
Mm.
It was just interrupted. And so then we were able to, over the course of time, adjust to a new normal of everything being concentrated in the home.
Hmm.
So, from working to your family life, those things used to be separate and apart. You could get up, you could go out. With the pandemic, you were literally rolling out of bed, and maybe your desk was next to you or
Yeah.
downstairs in your living room. And we got used to that. The kids got used to that, the adults got used to that. And actually, there is a thing that is going around at least within my agency, where we've been talking about COVID response.
Mm.
So, our responses from a mental and emotional space, our responses to the impact that COVID has had on our daily lives have actually allowed us to adjust and adapt,
Mm.
whether they were, challenges with adjustment or adapting. We have now adapted to COVID-19 from the latter stages of 2019 all the way through 2020,
Hmm.
and now we're in 2021. We've adapted to that, and that
Yeah.
adaptation has been, let's just say, 16 months.
Hmm.
And now we're switching back to what we used to know. That's hard. So there is absolutely a definite correlation between any type of adjustment, anxiety to what's happening right now. Absolutely.
We're talking about a major life shift, right? 15, 16, 17 months in this thing,
Hmm.
for sure, an entire year pretty much spent inside of a pandemic. Half of that year not understanding what we were in at all, to another
Right.
half of it fighting with people over how you should deal with it, right?
Yeah.
Now, okay. Oh, and by the way, leadership failing us tremendously
Wow.
through 2020,
Don't get
giving
me
us no real
started.
guidance, right? Now we have new leadership, seems to be, level headed or whatever. But now that you're out and about, I'm just, we just talk right now because
Right.
now that we're out and about, what I noticed, and it's a weird thing. The first thing I noticed, honestly, and this is before the vaccine, right? We had
Hmm.
a get together. I don't know, it was like in January sometime. We get together with some friends. Everybody's responsible, cool, everybody. Like, no reason not to trust my friends. However, we
Mm.
had food out or whatever, and by the way, these are my friends. I know them very well. Everybody I know exactly what they're doing. But we had food out, and I found myself nervous to like touch the food,
Hmm.
and I realized that's a really abnormal response to this because first off, by this time we had learned that COVID didn't even work like that, right? But still, I'm like, now I'm developing new phobias. Like I don't want to, eat at a what do you call, like at a buffet situation, right? Now that I'm out and about,
Hmm.
fast forward, even
Hmm.
though I'm vaccinated, I have my mask on, say I'm at Chick-fil-A or something. If people walk in without a mask on, I find myself judging them. I find
Yeah,
myself looking at them and going, so beyond like the health paranoia, it also causes like a social thing going on. Like I'm judging
absolutely.
people for their actions. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So that's your COVID response.
Mm,
That's the response to what has been placed. We all, this entire world,
yeah.
has experienced an acute reaction to trauma. So acute meaning a short period of time. A short period of time, in comparison to our lifespan. We're hitting that stage of 40. But for just think about it. Within a year's time, I just kind of, and if you bear with me for a moment in your audience, within a year's time, I'm just going to track something for a moment. Let's just start at January. January, we're used to celebrating New Year's,
Mm-hmm.
right? February, we're used to Valentine's Day. These are all social gatherings, social events, places where food is communal.
Mm-hmm.
Partying and get togethers are communal. So we have January, we have New Year's. February, we have Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
March, I know there may be St. Patrick's Day, or this it's hitting spring. We might have a little get together.
Mm-hmm.
April, again, get togethers, more holidays where you start to get together, maybe a President's Day or whatever comes in April.
Mm-hmm.
Easter comes in April, or for religious holidays. Again, very communal. May, everything happens in May. Mother's Day, it's springtime.
Mm-hmm.
We're shopping. It's Memorial Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things are communal. I'm only in May.
Yeah.
June, it's the summertime. School's about to let out. July, it's 4th of July. What's after that? August. This is summertime, prime
Mm-hmm.
time for family vacation, prime time for going to the beach, prime time for cookouts, for partying, for prime time for rooftop parties, day
Mm-hmm.
parties, white party, whatever you want to call it. It's prime time in September, so on and so on and so on. So I want to let you know and everybody else know we have missed an entire year of the prime time monthly activities that are social. And
Mm-hmm.
our response to that, because we have either been told or at this point we've had 16 months of conditioning, just like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
When a baby is young, the baby is conditioned to know and do certain things. So we fresh out here. Like
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
this is all new again. And so yes, there is that response to you trust your friends. I
Yeah.
trust my friends too. But let me tell you something, around my friends, if and I have to be double vaccinated because of the industry that I work in,
Mm-hmm.
and thankfully I was able to get it. Of course I had my skepticism at first,
Right.
but the reality is that I I am in a safe environment, and I also follow safe protocols. But I experienced the same thing that you experienced,
Yeah.
where, all right, girl, let's do a Zoom party instead.
Yeah.
I trust you.
Yeah.
I trust your cooking.
Yeah.
you know the couples getting together, we trust you, we love you,
Mm-hmm.
and we gonna do that from a distance, and
Yeah.
and you know what, it is natural and it is okay. It
You
is
know
okay.
what? That's such a, I love that breakdown because there's first of all, that's so true, right? You just broke down 2020 to the max, right? That's exactly how it went for most people. Now you throw a vaccine in there, and you just said it, right? Like I'm double
Yeah.
vaccinated, you're double vaccinated, my family's vaccinated. All my close friends that I know of are vaccinated, but there are people out there who are like, I don't trust it, I don't get it. So then again, it starts this other, it's a two-pronged problem because you have a social issue happening. Like, I'm gonna judge you because I'm judging you because you are vaccinated, or I'm judging you because you're not vaccinated, right? And also the idea of putting something in your body that's brand new.
Yeah.
People having, if we're living in a the age of technology and the age of information, but it's also the age of disinformation
Right.
where you see all sorts of things. There were
Right.
people, the thing that really, and not that shocks me anymore when it comes to COVID, but I'm using the word shock just because the thing that surprised me
Mhm.
or threw me off is people that are on my timeline. I'm not going to name anybody, but I respect and think are smart people, right? It's one thing when the person that's the goofy on your timeline is posting goofy stuff, right?
Yeah.
But when the person that
Right.
you don't expect to think like this, right? Or you just realize, oh wow, we disagree, like 100% disagree on this issue. Smart people with big audiences posting legit
Yeah.
misinformation about the vaccine. Now, mind you, I'm not here
Right.
to wave the flag for the vaccine. I mean, I did what I had to do for me and mine, right? But when you're posting
Yeah.
disinformation and you're someone that I think is smart, then I have to believe that you truly believe that, right? So it just causes another just social battle, right? That again contributes to just a general anxiety amongst people, like to be or not to be vaccinated. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, okay, full disclosure, I
Mm-hmm.
was privately, not publicly.
Mm-hmm.
I was privately one of those people who said, "Well, I don't know. I'm gonna wait till y'all get it.
Sure.
Let me see what happened with y'all."
Right.
And that is again, if we want to take it there,
Mm-hmm.
that's just the history of this country with people of color, the United States. We know about
Absolutely.
the Tuskegee experiments, so on
Yep.
and so forth. So
Yep.
that's the first thing I can admittedly say in a private space,
Mm-hmm.
that is, what I was thinking of. And
Mm-hmm.
then also, this is something brand new.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is. But what I will also say, it's interesting how something that's introduced into an atmosphere that is new will
Mm-hmm.
actually expose how people truly and really feel. So
Mm.
you had mentioned briefly, like super briefly, and I picked it up about, let's just say, the politics of it all, of the last 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when something new disrupts the system,
Mm-hmm.
it really does expose how people really feel.
Yeah.
Now, if you are staunch and you want to have your voice be heard, you will post.
Mm-hmm.
Now, posting is also your choice. And
Mm-hmm.
so you have the ability to post, I believe in this or I don't believe in this. I'll
Yeah.
say privately, I wanted to wait and see. And I'm definitely a proponent of information that's good information that's
Surely.
proven over time,
Sure.
versus the disinformation and just knee jerk reactions. Let me post this. I really truly implore people, do your research. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, you can do your Googles, but
Yeah.
what website are you clicking on? If it's
Right.
something random.com versus
Right.
a .org, then you just really gotta really figure out what
Yeah.
are you gonna take, what's gonna be for shock value for entertainment purposes. You just
Mm-hmm.
kicking it, or if you're really, like you said, you have to take care of you and yours, and you
Yeah.
have the conversations. And for me, I can really say that my agency, my group of friends, and my colleagues, we really do support each other, and um, we have to study and indulge ourselves in those things that are research and
Mm-hmm.
that give good quality information, because we also service the community.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure first that we apply everything that we're then going to apply to our clients. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, I'm not gonna make anybody do anything they don't want to do. But like you
Sure.
said, for you and yours, and for me and mine, I have to do what I believe is
Yeah.
best based on good research, and then also based on that inner feeling, prayer, whatever you want to call it. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's the way that I make my moves. Yeah.
Shout out to something random.com though. I'm at to check that one out. I'm sure there's great information on there. But and you're 100% right. Like actually, I had a friend that kind of carried it like that. And he actually used me as a guinea pig. It was like, yo, he didn't say that out loud, but he let me know like, oh, okay, so you turned out okay. And his
Mm-hmm.
concern wasn't necessarily for long-term effect. His concern was,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm asthmatic. As I'm asthmatic as
Yeah.
well. I'm asthmatic. If this thing gives you COVID-like symptoms, am I going to take this vaccine? Is it going to do X, Y, and Z? I know people that took the Johnson and Johnson vaccine in the beginning, especially young women, women that were between, I think, like the ages of like 18 to like 40 something, had the issue with the blood clot. So there's things again. Your line of thinking, I support that because that's just logic. But when you're just spreading misinformation, that's when I think, and again, it's not for me to, I'm not saying that for people to press people to get a vaccine or not. It causes a social issue, in my opinion, like a judgment, like you stupid for getting that vaccine. And then on the other side, you're dumb for not getting that vaccine. And so that's where, I think again, we talked about poor leadership and what we were dealing with in 2020. And you broke down 2020 beautifully just from a social aspect, but just from
Mm.
a leadership aspect, we didn't know what to believe. I think that's why, when we were doing shows before, you and I, we were talking about in COVID anxiety, right? The idea like we don't know what's going on. We
Yeah.
don't know. Now we're out of it. We have new leadership, but there's still, that doesn't go away. You experience that for a year. You experience that up into November, really until
Right.
January of this year, because of how the
Right.
administration wouldn't let go, right? So not having leadership, not having
Mhm.
someone that you can look at and go, okay, I trust what you're saying, or at least I believe what you're saying, cause people to make their own decisions, right? And so now that we're out of,
Mhm.
quote unquote, out of it, and I want to talk about the Delta variant soon, but now that we're quote unquote out of it and starting to open back up, there's still a lot of that left. Excuse me. There's still a lot of that left. There's still this idea of like, well, am I doing this right or am I doing this wrong? You know what I mean? And it's to me, it
Yeah.
just could cause a lot of confusion.
You're right. It causes confusion. The one thing that I will say is that in order to know, and I even hate to say it this way, but there are those that go before where it's the trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really just what it is.
Yeah.
And just like we have been conditioned all our lives to expect certain things to happen for our daily functioning, for our daily patterns and routines,
Mm-hmm.
then for something to come and like rock this entire world for us, for scientists and for all of those who were on board with finding a remedy for it,
Right.
putting it out there, and then making sure along the way that over time everything seems to be okay, or we've had some bumps in the road. Real talk, that's with everything. Everything comes. It just like if I'm just staying in the mental health lane
Right.
for a baby doesn't come out the womb knowing everything. It's
Mm-hmm.
trial and error. Okay, well, these shoes fit this baby to help them walk a little bit better. These shoes didn't work. You
Right.
talked about the Johnson and Johnson, and then there's the Pfizer, and then there's the Moderna, and there's all these things. I think at the end of the day, too, though, people just want to get back to normal. Like people want to
Right.
be safe.
Right.
And I'll say this: I during that time, these past 4 or 5 years, I was really into politics, and it really does start from the top down.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have a chaotic, and I'm just speaking generally because we are
Sure.
in a new administration in a different time, but
Sure.
we are reaping, you know, what happened the past 4 years, and we're
Yeah.
trying to get it onto a good path.
Yeah.
But when you have calamity and chaos that starts out, you
Mm-hmm.
can almost expect calamity and chaos as the result of, especially when people are not skilled or learned in certain areas,
Mm-hmm.
nor do they allow themselves to have a team of people to sit them down and say,
Mm-hmm.
sir or ma'am, this is the information, this is the research. We are in an information age, we are in a
Yep.
technological age.
Yep.
You have information available to you. Let me get off my soapbox. Um, but what I'm basically just saying is that what I'm saying is that once information is available to you and once it's tested, tried, and true,
Mm-hmm.
I believe we can begin to move forward, of course, with caution and of course with reason.
Yeah.
But these responses that we are having, I want people to know that it is normal and that it is okay. It is when you begin to kind of make it fanatical, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
when you catastrophize it and
Yeah.
polarize it on either one side or the other, that it
Mm-hmm.
begins to be what you were saying, like, you know, mask versus no mask,
Right.
the vaccine versus no vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
You just, at the end of the day, we all have choice, and I know for me, my choice is to follow the research, follow the data, follow what I see. And I believe in these instances, those are one of the things that will help us get back to functionality.
Yeah. To wrap it up, and neither one of us are, we don't work for the CDC or WHO or anything like that. So
Right,
whenever
right.
the Delta variant, I have the same information anyone else has. I work in news, outside of this podcast. People know I do the Gov Exec podcast, and
Mhm.
I'm I'm lucky to have information. That's why I got a lot of information about, like, the vaccines, for instance, right? But when it comes to the Delta thing, who knows, right? But I will say that, you just talked about politics and how polarized this country has become, right? Team this, team that. And what I do think was a big issue during the pandemic was that one side decided to react one way to the virus to COVID, and another side decided
Mm-hmm.
to react another way and left people in the middle confused. Right. What I mean is the right decided it doesn't. Y'all tripping. Guys are punks. Go out there. Old people die, they die.
Yeah.
You know, just craziness, right? However, um, the left is the left decided to react in a way that I understand, but it was out of like, this is the most serious thing. You need to deal with this. You need to deal with this. And it left a lot of people in the middle like, well, I don't know about that, and I don't know about that either. Okay.
What is it?
So now
Mm-hmm.
that we're potentially facing a variant that is more transmissible than the original, right? And that being the main strand of the virus in the country, there are a lot of people who are, I find joy in telling people, you know, we about to get locked down again. Y'all stupid for being out here. Y'all crazy. It's coming. It's coming. And I
Mm-hmm.
wonder, I'm just asking you as a health professional, right? How much stress does that put on just people who, like you just mentioned, who just want to get back to normal, who just want to live their lives, who felt like, man, we just got through this. And now there's a bunch of people online, not saying they're right or wrong, by the way, that seem to get joy out of telling people, there's a bigger, badder thing coming. It's going to knock all of y'all down. And oh, by the way, your vaccine might not work either. Ha 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 ha. At least that's what I noticed on my
Right.
timeline. And it's a really bizarre reaction to me. What do you think about that?
Uh, I think that it's a challenge. And I'll say it this way. For the clients that I have that are just tired of being home and tired of being locked up, they do, locked up in a sense of like tired of being at home all day, all the time. I want to get back to a sense of normalcy. Um, those persons may have a very adverse reaction. Then you have those who are just cautious, right in the middle. I do
Mhm.
believe that the statistics have shown that mask wearing, because of the mask wearing, there is a decrease in contraction of COVID. Not
Absolutely.
that it's taking it away, but mask wearing, there is a decrease, and that you're able to go out and do certain things. My thought is this: still be safe, still use common sense.
Mm-hmm.
If it is that person that's saying, you know, it's coming, then what I'd like to see from that person is exercise all safety precautions.
Yeah.
If you know it's coming, then I want to see you exercise your safety precautions. Mask up, wear your gloves, bring your sanitizer, have the wipes, or stay inside. And that is okay. It is
Mhm.
okay that the person wants to ring the alarm to warn everyone about the new variant.
Yeah.
Um, and for those who are still in the space of this is a hoax or it's not going to bother me, it is okay for people to have their own thoughts and feelings.
Right.
However, what I would request though is that because it is out and because it is a conversation and because the statistics again follow research shows
Mm-hmm.
that there is something coming, I would implore them to
Yeah.
be safe.
Yeah.
And if you decide, because we all have free will, to be unmasked or to go out and to socialize and, you know, just be like it was pre COVID-19,
Mm-hmm.
then I would just kindly and respectfully say, stay within that group of those that believe and feel the same way you do.
There it
And
is.
then for those of us, I mean, for those of us who just feel it's safe, though I'm double vaccinated, I still wear my mask because I don't know what anybody else got.
Me
Okay,
too.
I don't know
Yeah.
what you got.
Yep.
I don't know what he got, she got. I know what
Mm-hmm.
I got, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to be healthy.
Look,
And so that's the way that I would. That's where I would make my moves to.
I got my nice Butler did it mask. Anybody want one? Holler
Oh,
at
that's
me.
super cool.
Yeah, definitely though. But I'm thank you for saying that because I think it's just really important to have some calm, even in where I think that's really a lesson that I learned from
Hmm.
2020 was that calm,
Yeah.
being calm throughout that was super important. Being calm and being smart, being panicked on either side of the aisle or extra on either side of the aisle is what I think created the issue, you know what I mean? And being judgmental on the left and telling people how they should live, and this, that, another, and not being sympathetic and understanding as to why someone may not understand, say, like vaccinations, and may be hesitant for a
Mm-hmm.
vaccination, right? Instead of hammering them and telling them they're dumb, talk to them about it, give them the information, give them the tools, and if they choose to do what they do, that's on them. On the right, telling people they dumb for believing in COVID and telling people they need to, eat this magic berry that nobody knows about from the island or so and so. And come on now, it's just silliness, So I think that remaining calm, if this new variant does shut things down, say in the winter, I'm of the belief that the world is different now. I think it's going to be a seasonal thing.
Oh
I
yeah.
think fall and winter is going to be tough for the next couple of years, until they just come up with a Theraflu for COVID. Until there's a thing you could buy over the counter.
Right.
You take a teaspoon of it or a pill or something, or when you go to the hospital, it's just a medicine they
Yeah.
give you. It's just going to be this way. So I think you're 100% right. Use your brain. Do your Googles, but don't go to what was it again? Random, what is it?
Something
Yeah,
random.com.
yeah, don't go there. You know what I mean? There's plenty of information out there at this point. And just take care of yourself. But most importantly, and while you're here, take care of yourself mentally. That's the most important thing, because it's the one thing you can't control. Thank you so much, sis. You're wonderful. I'm
Thank you
always
for having me. I always enjoy it. I always enjoy coming to the
yeah.
show.
Yeah, man. But we're gonna keep doing it. Like I said, you're my first guest since the I've been doing the show on YouTube, but since bringing back the podcast version of the show, you're the first guest I've had on. So thank you so much. Anything you want to shout out? You got stuff going on. You want to shout anything out?
I do have stuff going on. And let me say this. I love coming on your show. And I really feel like coming onto your show, and maybe one other friend of ours from our high school has really just kind of ignited this desire to do podcasting. And I was sharing with you before we started the show that I've enjoyed it so much, and word has spread that I've been on your show and a couple of panels, so much so that now I am the host of my entire agency's podcast. We're in the pilot seasons, but I really do have a desire for mental health conversations and discussions to be normalized. Beautiful. It is okay for us, especially within our community, within the Black and Brown community, to have these conversations in all facets, ways, and areas about mental health. So I'm super excited. And maybe one day you can come on our show.
Listen, man.
And talk about mental health from the male perspective.
Absolutely.
And then also thank you again. I got to say it publicly. You appeared for our Men's Mental Health Month that we had at the Leeds, myself and my co-host, Nander Timlong. You came on as part of our Men's Mental Health Month for the month of March, even though we know it's in June. But thank you so much. Those episodes really got conversation going. So thank you again. You can find me at dy.lmsw on Instagram, the Leeds, THE.LEADS on Instagram. The podcast for my agency is to come. So maybe if I'm on again, I'll give you all that information. But thank you again so much. I love coming. This is super cool. Thank you so much.
No problem, sis. Keep doing your thing.